Graduation day smelled like hairspray and cafeteria pizza. The principal promised our futures would be limitless, and every set of bleachers was a galaxy of phones pointed at someone's favorite star. I kept scanning for two specific stars, Mom's floral phone case and Dad's sweat-stained baseball cap shaped like Florida. Nothing. Under the gown, I checked my phone like it might bite. Mom, 8:02 a.m. Didn't sleep, we're too tired after the week. Proud of you though. We'll celebrate later, sparkling heart. Dad, record it. No, we're parking. No, save us seats. No, we made a go Liam sign. Yes, I'm Liam. No, I do not inspire signage. Pomp and circumstance. Began, Revenge of the Orchestra Kids. My row stood. A girl whispered, Your folks here? I said, They're here in spirit. Which is a poetic way to say nope. They called my name. I crossed the stage to polite claps, Mr. Patel from next door, somewhere in the back, and a teacher who claps for everyone like it's cardio. The photographer caught my smile doing its best impression of a stable internet connection. Totally fine, do not buffer, certainly not about to cry. After, the parking lot turned into a bouquet parade. I texted Mom. All done. Heading home? She sent a snoozing emoji and a heart. Dad left me on read. I celebrated by eating the emergency granola bar in my sleeve like a tiny, crunchy party for one. Now the unbelievable but on-brand part. The next weekend, my parents drove 3 hours to watch my cousin Daniel chase a ball in another county. My aunt's Facebook Live caught Mom front row screaming, That's my nephew! Like she'd invented his legs. Every ping of Family Goals smiling face with heart eyes felt like someone flicking my ear. I put my phone face down so I wouldn't have to watch their two tired bodies doing the wave. I didn't scream. No 5-paragraph essay in the group chat titled Reasons You're Hypocrites, with citations. I did what I always do, turned the feeling into fuel. I went to my shift at Murphy's Market and shelved cereal like each box had personally wronged me. Mr. Patel rolled by for milk. He glanced at the cap still in my cart and said softly, Big day, champ. They were too tired. I heard myself say, practicing lines for a play where my character is fine. Mr. Patel nodded the way kind people nod when they can't fix history. Come by later, he said. Asha made gulab jamun. He bought 2 gallons he didn't need and patted my shoulder like a small, quiet applause. That night, at their table, Priya, his daughter, showed me her acceptance letter to a state university. Her parents cried. I smiled like my face had only 2 settings, supportive and joked through it. On the walk home, I made a promise I'd been ducking for years. If my own house couldn't be a cheering section, I'd build one from scratch. Brick by carefully chosen brick. Do I sound dramatic? Maybe. But this wasn't a one-off. Daniel's tournaments were always can't miss. My milestones were. We'll get to it. When I was 10, my science fair ribbon lasted 2 days on the fridge before it got replaced by Daniel's regional participation medal. At 16, the promised driving lesson became, Ask your uncle, I'm beat. The last page of the graduation program had a quote about roads and courage. I folded it into my wallet. If no one else was going to clap for me, I'd keep a portable pep talk. Also, it made a decent coaster for the celebratory frappe I bought myself, double whipped cream because petty tastes like sugar. That night, the house was quiet in the way a house gets when everyone is pretending to be asleep. I opened a fresh note on my phone and wrote 3 lines. Get out. Figure out what you're good at when no one's watching. Build something that doesn't need their congratulations to exist. I didn't know what any of it meant yet. Only that the next time a seat waited for my people, they'd be there, even if I had to go out and find my people first. Murphy's Market wasn't glamorous, but it was consistent. Show up, stack, get paid. Gary, my manager, loved coupons and calling me Lion. I took pride in turning wobbly end caps into load-bearing shelves and fixing the register with a paperclip when the Wi-Fi sulked. You've got a brain for systems, Mr. Patel said one night, buying milk he didn't need and checking on me like he did. So I studied, not at a 4-year school I couldn't afford, but at the only college open at midnight, YouTube. Then the community college. I took intro supply chain and operations, scheduling classes around graveyard shifts. The first time a professor said, "Liam?" and I said, "Here." Something rewired. I wasn't the forgotten kid in the bleachers or lion with the mop. I was a person who could build lanes where there weren't any. I told my parents carefully. Mom texted a heart and "Great!" followed by a photo of Daniel in shin guards. Dad wrote, "Good for you," which is basically a thumbs up from a statue. It didn't ruin my mood, it clarified the assignment. I wasn't studying to impress them. I was studying so one day I wouldn't need them. Priya, Patel adjacency, caffeine-powered, found me doing homework at their kitchen table. "Supply chain?" she said. "That's hot now. Apply for the trainee program at Atlas Distribution." Atlas was the warehouse outside town with forklifts moving like ballet. I laughed. "They want experience." She looked at my box cutter bandages. "You've been practicing." Gary wrote me a reference that accidentally helped. It was meant to be bland. Lion shows up. But between the typos, you could read a pattern: dependable, curious, the guy everyone asked when the printer spoke in riddles. Atlas called me for a tryout day. I arrived in my one good shirt and shoes that believed in friction. The trainer, a woman named Cass, handed me a clipboard. 3 hours, she said. Learn. Mess up. Learn again. I messed up immediately. My first forklift attempt looked like a nervous giraffe on rollerblades. I clipped a cone and whispered, "Sorry," to it. Cass laughed, which loosened my shoulders. By lunch, I could stack a pallet without inventing modern art. By 4, I had the basics and a headache shaped like a warehouse map. Cass tapped the clipboard. "You're teachable," she said. Teachable beats cocky every day. They offered me part-time to start. The schedule looked like a dare: 4 a.m. to noon at Atlas, classes in the afternoon, Murphy's some evenings. Sleep became a rumor. I bought my first car, a 10-year-old Mazda 6 with a glove compartment that stuck like it was protecting state secrets. I thanked it every morning when it started. "You and me," I'd whisper. "We're both overperforming." Money stayed tight, but discipline started to feel like freedom. I built a spreadsheet to predict which items at Murphy's would sell out. Our waste dropped. Gary took credit in a staff meeting, then told me I was management material if I learned to smile more. I smiled less and sent the model to Mr. Patel instead. He used it and showed me his numbers the next week, an uptick that made him beam. "See?" he said. "You don't just work hard. You work smart." Sometimes I texted victories home. "Passed my forklift cert today." "Mom." "Nice." "Daniel scored twice." "Dad." "Good." The messages didn't hurt anymore. They just bounced off something solid I was building. On petty nights, I watched my cousin's highlight reels and reminded myself, we don't compare. We build. On payday Fridays, I bought dollar slices for me and Priya. We'd sit on her porch, sketching what a life could look like. I pictured an apartment with sunlight, 2 plants I wouldn't kill, and a desk big enough for my laptop and my thoughts. I didn't daydream about cars. Cars were just freedom with airbags. The dream was smaller and heavier, a key that was mine, a door that closed softly, and a table where someone would cheer when I got home. The apartment was technically garden level, the realtor 4. The windows see feet. But the lock turned and the light switch obeyed me, and that was enough. My first night, I sat on the floor with a slice and surveyed my new kingdom, one room that did everything, a bathroom with a fan like a helicopter meditating, and a closet that tried. I put my graduation quote on the fridge with a cow magnet and cried in a way I'd call hydration. Saturday, I bought a desk that arrived as a 47-piece personality test. I passed on the 4th try. I named my plant Stanley. When I overwatered him, I stuck a post-it above the sink: "Don't drown the ones who depend on you." Atlas kept me busy. Cass gave me a lane no one wanted: returns, a haunted aisle of mystery boxes and angry sticky notes. "Make it less cursed," she said. I built a map, labeled shelves by velocity, and color-coded perishables, fragile and will leak if tipped. 2 weeks later, our turnaround time dropped. A driver told Cass, "It's like someone finally put the lights on." She called me into the office. "You like patterns?" she said. "Not for the ego trip. I like it when things don't fall over." She slid a certificate across the table, Employee Spotlight. It came with $150 and a parking spot near the door. I texted the news home, reflex still wired to seek applause. Mom sent confetti and a video of Daniel's last-minute goal. Dad replied, "Keep at it." Then the family chat lit up with plans for Daniel's state finals, snacks, carpool, and which color to wear. No one asked if I could come, they told me where to sit to film. I typed, "Can't make it, double shift." Deleted it and wrote, "Hope he crushes it." Then I set the chat to silent. It didn't feel like betrayal. It felt like moving furniture, so you stopped stubbing your toes. Priya dropped by with a lemon candle and a potholder that said, "This is where we eat feelings. Your place fits you," she said. We ate cheap pasta and traded lists, hers for dorm supplies, mine for banishing chaos from returns. "Do you miss families?" she asked. "Sometimes," I said. "Mostly the idea of one." At Murphy's, Gary celebrated my Atlas bonus by innovating breaks. Translation fewer. I laughed and put in my notice. "You'll regret leaving a sure thing," he said, as if stability and stagnation were cousins. 2 weeks later, Atlas offered me a full-time position with benefits and tuition reimbursement for a night course. I bought sheets with a thread count higher than my old GPA and a second plant, a fern named Mrs. Doubtfire. Some evenings I'd sit at my small desk and feel this soft, sturdy thing I'd misdiagnosed as pride. It wasn't pride. It belonged. Not to a last name or a bleacher row, but to a routine I chose and a future that kept saying, "If you keep going, I'll keep growing." I stopped sending home updates. Not in anger, in maintenance. Replaced the squeaky hinge, and the door opens quietly. They still posted every schedule, every "He's our champion" caption that said where we stood. One night Mom called. I curved around the impulse to answer like a driver missing a pothole. Voicemail. "Just checking in. Also, can you Venmo your portion for Daniel's banquet?" 50. I looked at Stanley. "Buddy," I said, "we're going to learn about boundaries." I sent 50, then opened a savings account named Better Seats and put 100 in. Petty? Maybe. Motivational? Definitely. Cass caught me staying late, reslotting an aisle I dreamed of a better way to run. "Go home, Liam," she said. "You're not a lighthouse. Lighthouses get to stay in one place." I said, "I'm building a boat." That's when it shifted. I wasn't chasing their attention anymore. I was chasing competence. The day I could glance at the family chat without feeling like a benchwarmer in my own life, I realized something simple and dangerous. When you stop asking certain people to see you, you see more of the people who already do. Night classes turned my brain into a laundromat, tumble, ding, repeat. Dr. Lou treated operations like poetry. "Supply chains are stories," she said. "Who trusts whom, and who shows up on time?" I knew both answers from childhood. Trust is earned, and showing up is the whole plot. Atlas covered half my tuition if I passed. During the day, Cass slid me into the slotting committee. Put fast movers where you don't need a quest to find them. At first, I poured coffee and asked, "Why do we?" Soon, I was sketching aisle flows and building tiny cardboard pallets in my kitchen like I was auditioning for the world's most boring craft show. Fridays, Priya and I ate grocery store sushi and compared notes. Her dorm, my warehouse. Teachable beats cocky, we decided, and kept that phrase like a secret handshake. The first promotion talk happened in the break room next to a ficus that believed in me. Cass slid a folder across the table. "Lead, returns optimization," she said. "Small bump now, bigger bump if the pilot you designed keeps numbers down for 60 days. I stared. "You already do the work," she added. "Change your email signature." I texted, "Nobody." Then I texted Mr. Patel. He sent 47 claps and dinner 7 p.m. Asha fed me like I'd won a championship. You keep finding the right rooms, she said. The rest follows. That weekend, Mom posted a Facebook memory, my graduation program with a floating cap filter and the caption, "Proudest day. We watched from home because parking was impossible, so crowded. He knows we were there in spirit." My stomach dropped. Priya sent a screenshot I was already staring at. Her text, "You okay?" My, define okay. I drafted 12 replies and sent none. Instead, I called. Mom answered in her bright customer service voice. "Liam, did you see the memory? Such a special day." "Mom," I said like setting a glass down. "You weren't there. I was alone." A pause. "We felt like we were there." She tried. "Long week. Your father's back." "I'm not mad about them," I said. "I'm mad that now you're rewriting it to look nicer online than it felt to me." Silence. Then the defense. "We've always been proud. We drove 3 hours for Daniel because that was the team's responsibility. Your thing didn't need us there." "It did," I said. "But I survived. And I'm doing well." I told her about classes, the pilot, and the maybe promotion. "That's great, honey," she said. "You know, your cousin has scouts looking at him." "I have to go, Mom." Not in anger. The conversation was a treadmill disguised as a path. I started therapy. Instead of turning pain into jokes, I told a professional. "Hi, I think my feelings are stuck in a group chat." Nika, a library said, "You can love people and not let them narrate your life." Homework, minimum viable relationship. I wrote, honesty about the past, curiosity about the present, and fewer posts. 60 days later, the pilot crushed it. Complaints dropped. Pick times went down. HR announced my promotion with a half-sheet cake that said "You did the thing." Cass clinked her mug. "Your next lane isn't a lane," she said. "It's a map." That night, I walked past a row of modest cars. I didn't want a shiny badge to flex. I wanted good brakes, AC that worked, and the feeling of turning a key to a life no one else could stall. I pictured it, then pictured my savings. One goal at a time. After midnight, Mom texted. "Saw the promotion. So proud. Maybe we can come by this weekend? Dad wants to see your place." A year ago, I would have scrubbed baseboards and prayed for approval. Now I checked my calendar and my gut. Sunday 2 to 4. I wrote back. "And Mom, please don't post about it." She sent a thumbs up and a heart. I turned off the lamp, lay in my bed that didn't fold back into a couch, and tried on a thought that finally fit. I don't need to be the favorite. I need to be myself on purpose. I cleaned like I expected an inspection from the International House of Parents, and hid the potholder that says "This is where we eat feelings." At 1:12 p.m., Mom texted. "We're close." Traffic was lighter than expected. Yay! The invite said 2 to 4. Nika's homework. Keep the boundary. Right on cue, the doorbell rang, bright, eager, Catholic guild chime. I stirred lentil soup and didn't move. The bell rang again, then Dad knocked. I texted, "See you at 2. Keyword at. Then I put my phone face down and chopped cilantro. At 1:59, I opened the door, smiling the way airline attendants smile right before they tell you to gate check expectations. Shoes off, hugs brief. Mom scanned the room. "Cozy," she said, "parent 4. Small but no visible mold." Dad tapped the ficus. "Real?" "Yes," I said. "So are the emotions." "Ground rules, gently. No photos, no posts, 2 hours, ask before rearranging magnets." Mom laughed. "Who would post?" she asked, while gripping her phone like a sheriff's badge. "Gift bag. A collage of me and Daniel with a vinyl sticker that reads Family First. Cute and passive-aggressive, like a cupcake with a tiny knife." We ate. Mom sprinkled questions. "So you're a manager?" "Lead," I said. "I design how returns flow." "We always knew you were good with gadgets," she said, As if I'd emerged holding a label maker. Dad asked about pay in that casual voice parents use when they're secretly dividing your salary by their bills. Comfortable, I said. And climbing. They told me about Daniel's season, sprains, scouts, car washes. You should come to the next game, Mom said. It's only 3 hours. I smiled. Sundays are my laundry Olympics. Mom paused at my therapy card. You know we've always supported you, she said. We were just tired that day. My jaw tried to clench. I'm past that, I said. I just don't want us to pretend we weren't. Picture for Nana? Phone already open. No post, I reminded. Nana isn't a post, Nana is 90. Dad held the phone. I exhaled and let them take one, printed only. At 3:18, and Joy commented. Look at you visiting his little place. So proud. The photo was public and geotagged. Heat crept up my ears. Calm voice, Liam. Mom, please take it down. Oh, honey, who even looks at those settings? I do, I said. And anyone who shouldn't know where I live. She sighed, tapped. The post vanished. She texted the photo to Nana instead. I could live with that. At 3:58, Dad put his shoes on like he was clocking out of a complicated shift. On the way to the door, he paused at Stanley and read the tag I'd made, Stanley, thriving. He smiled for real. You are, he said, too quiet for Mom to hear. They left. I watched from the peephole, then remembered Nika. You don't have to keep people in view to keep them in your life. I sat on the couch and felt the quiet rush in, mine, not lonely. At 4:15, the doorbell rang again. Peephole, Mom, back with Tupperware. She mouthed. Leftovers for you. I could have opened the door and let the 2-hour window stretch. Instead, I sat still. The bell rang twice, then a text. Left it by the door. Love you? Boundaries held. Love didn't evaporate. Both can be true. Inside the bag, macaroni, sunflower napkins, and a card. We're proud in our way. I put the card next to the graduation quote. For the first time, they didn't cancel each other out. That night, I mailed Nana a print of the photo with a note and an invitation to tour the warehouse. She called the next day. You built a place, she said. That's the real graduation. I looked at my small, ordinary street. The doorbell was quiet. The boundary was still there. And in the silence, something else started to ring, possibility. Performance reviews at Atlas lived in a windowless room with an immortal ficus. Cass slid me a folder. Your pilot saved 21 labor hours a week, she said. Corporate noticed. Optimization associate. Raise, bonus, and a stipend so your brain doesn't lap your job title. Inside were numbers big enough to shop without aisle math. Also, Cass added, you're good in rooms. You make the peacocks put their feathers down. I walked out with a new badge and the opposite of that graduation feeling. Somebody had shown up, even if it was me with a spreadsheet. Priya and I celebrated with pancakes at noon. The Mazda celebrated by coughing. My mechanic, Jay, patted the hood. She's given you everything, he said. Either keep paying for miracles or let her retire with dignity. For the first time, I could afford a decision. I made a list like I was choosing friends, reliable, safe, good in rain, not a status announcement. At the dealership, the salesman pitched a badge. I pointed at a quiet midsize with trunk space for an actual life. On the test drive, the car whispered. The wipers didn't squeal. Sport mode? The salesman asked. My sport is arriving on time, I said. We shook hands. The key fob felt like a promise. That night Mom texted. Big favor. Daniel showcase Saturday. Our car is acting up, Dad's back hurts. Could you drive us? We'll leave at 6. Remember how we always support you. Saturday was the slotting dry run I'd built for months. I typed, deleted, and called. I can't, I said. I have a commitment I can't move. Her sigh arrived on cue. Family comes first, she said. We missed your graduation because we were exhausted, and you still haven't let it go. Can't you give us this? I let it go so much I almost lost myself. I said, I'm not punishing you. I'm honoring my life. I hope you find a ride. I'll cheer from here. Pivot. Could we borrow your new car? I don't loan brand new things I can't replace. I said. That's my rule. A pause with splinters. Okay. We'll figure it out. Friday, I picked up the car. Jay high-fived me. Priya adjusted the mirror like we were already a tiny family. She looks like November, she said. Calm, then gorgeous. We drove nowhere and sang badly. We pulled into Mr. Patel's driveway. Asha brought Mithai like a ribbon cutting. Mr. Patel circled the car with curator hands. Sturdy, he pronounced, and stuck a print-only photo on their fridge under a magnet that read "We show up." On the way home, I saved my new home. For years, typing H autofilled my parents' street. I deleted it. Saved mine. The app asked. Are you sure? Yes. I told the code and myself. The fastest route home ran past my old house. A younger me would have driven 3 extra miles to avoid even seeing their mailbox. The version holding November's wheel tapped preview. Turn, sagging fence, the flirty tree with the power lines. My hands tightened, then let go. I tapped start, then options, and checked avoid this road. Not because I was scared. Because I didn't need another test to pass. 2 minutes longer. Kinder. Saturday, they drove 3 hours to cheer for a jersey number. I wore a high-vis vest and called out new lanes like airline gates. At noon, we flipped it. Returns flowed. People smiled. Someone whistled. Cass nodded like a coach who finally watched the right play run. Look at that, she said. A system that shows up for itself. After a video from Mom, a goal, confetti, wobbly camera. Caption, he did it. Then a text. We're proud of you too, you know. No ask attached. I let it sit until my eyes blurred, then typed back. Me too. Not. Of me. Just me. That night, I parked November and locked her twice because trauma loves redundancy. I listened to the building hum and thought, I don't have to drive past anything to prove I've healed. But someday I might. And if I do, I'll wave at the idea of us that could have been and keep going. Time doesn't fix much by itself. Reps do. 3 years at Atlas turned into a ladder I could name, lead associate process engineer. The pilot became policy. We rolled out a new WMS. I learned to translate between IT and people who lift heavy things. I still keep a palette knife in my pocket. Meetings go better when the whiteboard guy also knows which way a box buckles. Priya finished school, moved back, and joined a design firm. On Thursdays, we walked the city and pretended it was all ours. People assumed we were dating. We weren't yet. She called my car Novembera. Season. Which stuck. Are we taking November? She'd ask, like it was a third friend. I upgraded from a garden level to a 1-bedroom with a son. Move-in day, the Patels came with tools and food. The graduation quote went on a new fridge beside Nana's note, you built a place. Mom and I texted in light weather. Happy birthday. Thanks. We adopted a cat named Pepper. Cute. Once a month, she sent Daniel news, championships, internships, a coach with a whistle like an heirloom. I hard reacted and, when it stung, fixed the cabinet because wood is easier. Boundaries did quiet magic. Fewer asks. Better visits. One Sunday, they came over and miracle, left on time. Dad handed me oil for the door. Found this in the garage. He said, Dad for? I noticed and acted without posting. I nearly cried over WD-40. Work asked more of me. Cass moved upstairs. I applied to lead continuous improvement, and wrote a cover letter like a shipping manifest. What I move, cost I cut, how I treat people. The VP called me. Refreshingly specific. The offer came with a raise and a little travel. On a layover, Mom texted. Drive-by dinner Saturday? Pizza. We'll order your favorite. I smiled. The idea that I had a favorite there meant she'd finally learned my order. Another time. I wrote, because I'd be teaching a warehouse why first in, first out is a religion, not a suggestion. Back home, my high school emailed about a cap and gown fund. Too many kids can't afford the outfit the brochure promises. The counselor wrote. I donated anonymously and asked if, anonymous, could pick the ribbon color. She chose gold. Alone in November, I said. Good choice. And laughed like someone who had finally become the adult he needed to be. At a diner that believes in breakfast for dinner, Priya said. We're not dating, but we could be. It landed like a permission slip. We started small Friday movies, her sweater on my chair, me learning the difference between warm lighting and you live in a submarine. Are you going to tell your parents? She asked. Eventually, I said. I want to bring them something finished, not a maybe, I'm scared they'll narrate. A week late, our Nana asked if I'd drive her to the doctor. We'll pass near your folks' street, she said. Want to stop? We had time. We had history. We had me in November, steady as a heartbeat. I pictured the turn, how it would feel to take it or not. Let's see how we feel, I said. Saturday was clear. Nana buckled, patted my arm, and said, Take your time. I laughed. It's a short drive. I mean with all of it, she said. On the way back, we reached the intersection. Left was their house, the porch where I once waited for rides that didn't come. Straight was home, to a table set by people who set places for me. My blinker stayed quiet. My hands were steady. What feels right? Nana asked. I looked at the street sign with our last name and thought, I used to believe reconciliation required a grand scene with perfect lighting. Maybe the grown-up version is smaller, choosing the route that doesn't cost you peace. The light turned green. I went straight. Years later, on a warm Sunday, November, and I headed home from the hardware store. The route app offered a faster way. Their street. Not spite, respect. For the boy who waited on that porch, and the man who doesn't. Dad stood on the lawn, phone to his ear. Mom waved at a neighbor. From the road, they looked smaller, not cruel, just human. My signal stayed off. I tapped the wheel once and drove on, toward the home where people show up. November purred. No horn.